Flag Day, June 14th, 2012. I was just leaving a Marnes Elementary School kindergarten graduation when I ran into a railroad crossing here. It's not an entire railroad crossing, it's only the caboose. A caboose that's been sitting for a quarter of a decade. Don't get run over, fall off over. Quarter of a decade in Larry Marnes' yard is now being moved very cautiously to this new location near the Rutland Railroad train station owned by Larry Marnes at the end of this Depot Street. Chris Trombley is directing traffic. The wires are being pushed across. I hope those are all cable and phone and no electric wires up there. Electric wires should be up higher. Larry Marnes is in the caboose of this little caravan. Not in the caboose, but in the last vehicle of this caravan. Chris Trombley is leading the parade. And since we were here and this was happening, we thought, why not? Why not add this to the Hometown Cable archives? We have a schoolhouse being moved. We have a farm building being moved down the highway. Schoolhouse moved in Cooperville was recorded by Suzanne Moore. The farm building being moved is recorded by Gordy Little. And here we are recording this caboose in beautiful downtown Moores on this Flag Day 2012. This wire looks like it's okay to go under. One phone and cable crossing at a time. They're moving, so we're going to move. I think we all knew years ago, sounds like I'm unplugged again here, when Larry Marnes purchased this train station, that it would only be a matter of time when the caboose sitting in his yard at home would be moved down here. You see the tracks have been laid, and we're going to wander now down Depot Street to catch their progress. This here is Maple. Comes out by the old funeral home and goes by the school. This way it takes you up to the Hemmingford Road, Route 22, and the Depot Street takes you to Route 11, just north of Trimex, the old movie theater. They're making good progress. Not every day you see a train coming down your street. We've done several programs over the years on the history of the Rutland Railroad. This is another chapter of a railroad that left this area 50 years ago. Came in as the Northern Railroad somewhere around 1849. For a while it was known as the O&LC, Ogdensburg and Lake Champlain. This car here is not part of the Rutland. It's an NJ, Napierville Junction. Napierville Junction is the D&H entity in Canada. Once the D&H reached Rouse's Point and went on into Canada, it was Napierville Junction Railroad, and that's the Caboose was changed, and that's what took the NJ, it was called, and it replaced the D&H as they went north. So I'm not sure how many NJ Cabooses actually ever made it here to Moore's Junction to come through here. Obviously, Moore's Junction indicates there was a junction here for years before. There was a spur that came through, crossed by the former Blue Note restaurant, between the Blue Note and the former funeral home, and came through here. That was the D&H. So it is possible that for a while there were NJ Cabooses here, but I'm not sure time frame wise when the NJ came into existence. Obviously when the D&H went to Rouse's Point, it kind of cut out the need for the spur coming up here. And of course that spur went through Scioto, went through West Chazy. West Chazy is still there, but the part that went through Scioto is no longer there. And if you look close, you can see the where the crossing occurred on Route 11 in downtown Moores. But this here was the east-west route of the Rutland. It's like one more obstacle, and it looks like they're going to clear. Looks like they are clear under that one. Now if they can drive into the yard, they'll be all set. Chris Trombley, of course, worked very hard with Larry Marnes to refurbish this train station.
You're right in the right place at the right time.
Serendipity. Whoop, 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 whoop. Getting too ambitious there, and that wire's awfully close. It's 10:07 on this Flag Day 2012, and we have a crane arriving. I would assume this is the crane that got it on that flatbed to begin with, and when the flatbed backs in here, the crane will lift it off. Obviously a great deal of expense is occurring here. And quite frankly, when I look at what I've mentioned this off camera many times, and I'm going to mention it on camera right now. You look at what Larry Marnes has done as a private individual here in Moores, and you look at all the money that has been spent and is going to be spent in Rouse's Point, you wonder why can't a little bit of an ingenuity and people rolling up their sleeves suffice? Why $1 million has to be spent to refurbish the train station in Rouse's Point, when obviously it was done for a lot less right here in Moores. So sometimes the less government you got involved, the easier it is. And I think we have a great example here in the North Country with what Larry Marnes has done, and comparing that to what Rouse's Point is trying to do. I know some people who have worked hard on that Rouse's Point station who will probably be upset with me, but $1 million spent on the refurbishing that building is just kind of hard to justify when our tax dollars are so hard to come by. Not that I'm against that train station. I think it's going to be a nice asset, but I think it could have been done at a far lower cost than what is happening. We have Mr. Larry Marnes with us here, and Larry, this is known as Moores Junction.
Right, yeah.
Because there was a junction here.
There was.
As I tried to explain earlier on my recording here, if the railroad, the D&H, cut off somewhere in the West Shazy area, was
right,
it?
at West Shazy.
And they spurred up through Scioto, which...
Yeah.
And the original Scioto is up by that church there on the Minor Farm Road that... and now Scioto's been moved over to Ober's Corners, and that's...
Yeah,
so the original Scioto is no longer there, but there was quite a little...
Yeah, a good little town.
Yeah.
Yeah, they came. The D&H came up through here, as you said. They branched off at West Shazy, went by the west end of this station, and that line was fairly short-lived because they ran it until 1923, and then they pulled the tracks up about 1925.
So up by the Blue Note, that's been gone since 25.
Right. Yeah.
Even though you and I might remember some kind of indication that there were tracks there.
Yeah, you could see the ridge,
yes.
The old roadbed there.
Right.
Yeah.
But now that they've repaved it a few times, but you can still, if you look back by the Knights of Columbus and through there, you can still tell where that route was.
Where it was, yeah.
Now, so how long was this? Now D&H went to Rouse's Point, obviously before 1923. How long did they both coexist?
Well, as I say, the D&H, once they got their main line built through to Rouse's Point, this became just a secondary branch. And they didn't run any mainline passenger service or anything like that. That all went through Rouse's Point. So
now, there's no track. Was there a track going through into Canada from here?
From here, yes.
It did go north from here.
They connected with the Grand Trunk. Now that's CN. They took the Grand Trunk over, and they ran right through to Hemingford and Cognawaga and into Montreal that way.
Okay, so they went through here, up through Hemingford, obviously the first place in Canada. But the NJ, did the NJ exist here?
No, they only existed from Rouse's Point to Delson, Quebec.
Okay, so even though it went north here, it wasn't the NJ?
No, it was D&H up to Moores, and then Grand Trunk from what they called Boundary Line, which was the border, into Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the NJ, unlike that, is actually sort of the same railroad as the D&H, wasn't it?
Right.
Just a Canadian entity.
It was a wholly owned subsidiary of the D&H, right?
Okay.
Yeah. That's what got them from Rouse's Point up as far as Delson. Then they were CP from Delson into Montreal.
And we can all remember all those tracks that crossed through Kantic.
Right. Yeah. There were a lot
that
there
was Track City.
at one time. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So having an NJ here, I imagine you've had this how long?
Since 1982, actually.
82. So that's
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
I imagine you were probably looking for a Rutland at the time, but you settled for an NJ, or were you looking for an NJ?
No.
Or a Caboose?
A Caboose, really, and this was available, and Rutlands were long gone by the time I could get around to this. But
yeah, they'd been out of this. For instance, 62 they officially closed, although they didn't run probably since 1960, was it?
Right, 61. They ran a few trains to pick up the foreign cars and get them off their line, that kind of thing, but nothing, no regular service.
Yeah. So obviously this is not a small endeavor, so you put a lot of effort into getting it over here.
So far we have.
I want to see that crane lift lift it one more time.
It doesn't have much trouble doing it, that's for sure. So,
no, I don't imagine. You got to have your straps on there just right.
I think he told me that crane had a 90-ton capacity, and he's lifting about 28,000 pounds, so not much trouble.
We could all get in there besides.
Yeah.
It wouldn't strain it at all.
Wouldn't have any trouble. Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Larry, that you think I should know?
Not right at this time, I guess. That kind of covers it, I think.
Okay. I'm going to sit back and watch the NJ arrive here and sit on the side of the Rutland.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks very much.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Larry Marnes, the owner here at this train station here in Moores Junction, otherwise known to us as Moores. Let's read the sign while we're here. About 1850, Eating House was east of this site where Plattsburgh, Montreal, and Ogdensburg Lake Champlain Railroad crossed. Okay, and this is the beautiful building that he has refurbished and fixed up on the inside, and Larry is a telegrapher. When Bob Ben and I interviewed him many years ago, we certainly saw his telegraphy expertise, and you have to applaud people like Larry Marnes for preserving this caboose, and our late friend Oral Parsons, who for many years retained his caboose up behind the Clark Funeral Home. And these people that preserve the history of railroading certainly have to be applauded and encouraged. Here is the track where the caboose will be put on display. Okay, it's now 10:38, and the crane is in position. And Jim Blair from Alberg is going to try to get this underneath that big cable wire. You can always tell the cable wires because they've got this little look right here. You see that? That's a cable. That's the one unique thing that I have noticed over the years about them. So this is a historic first. The NJ being parked along a Rutland station. As we mentioned earlier, the NJ ran from Rouse's Point north. Actually, not from Rouse's Point, that's where the cabooses were, but as soon as they crossed into that border, that's became the NJ. The D&H became the NJ. Here at the railroad that took over here, heading north, was the Grand Trunk. That's what you just heard Larry say. Okay, now they're going to try to back up. Going ahead was easy. Luck Brothers is providing the crane. It looks like they're on this side of that cable wire. And get by Larry's truck, we'll be all set there. So 30 years after Larry Marnes rescued his caboose that sat in Rouse's Point, deteriorating. 30 years later, after sitting in Larry's yard for those 30 years on Route 11, it is now being relocated. And we're just happy that happenstance put us here at this particular time. We're just driving by, had our camera in our car, and said, hey, we can't pass this up. We've got other things to do, other places to be, but it's moved up on the priority list immediately. I hadn't noticed, but the Caboose had been taken apart. The wheels, I think they call them trucks. I can't remember now. I should. Sitting here, they'll have to probably be put on the tracks first. We will not be here for the final conclusion of this. And once they get the straps on, they will disconnect this chain. Otherwise, they'll end up picking up the the back of the flatbed too. The straps look taut, so it should be safe to release the chain.
So this would be in the front then? Yeah. So this is going right here.
Right gauge here on the track. Don't run a no railroad.
Precision operation there. We'll see how good track layers Chris Trombley and Larry Marnes were. It fits. It fits. Roll it. Another set in the front part of the flatbed. Well, they'll do it all over again. You can imagine when a Rutland Railroad collector comes across a sign like this, what a find it is. And as you see, no attempt made to pretty it up. It is what it is. But what a great piece of history. The other trucks are being moved over. Again, I'm 90% sure that's what they are called. Okay, the trucks are in place. Those bars, I would assume, distribute the weight evenly. That way the load won't tip.
RC4 people. Okay. East California, we're going to be going through the steel plate is. Right here. Yep. These blocks are going to be up against the outside wood plate, right to the steel. Yep. And hope you stop there. Good block. Same thing. You're up against the rail, right to the steel. Keep your stop there while you stop on it. On this wood, right to the steel. Okay? Yep. Right or yellow on the bottom, right? Stop.
Like a twisted strap. Bells of St. Joseph's Church behind us are ringing at 11 a.m.
Everybody good? Good. Line up. You gotta get your wood up. Stop over more. There you go. Keep overlapping. Wrong stop.
Obviously it won't have to be lifted very high. Just enough to clear the bed of the truck. And then precision operation will put it right where it's supposed to be. Reminder, you're watching viewer-supported local television, hometown cable. Cable and around the world on the internet. A lot of unique events captured for posterity on hometown cable. This is certainly a one-of-a-kind event. This strap here is twisted a little bit on the inside strap. I'm hoping that won't be a factor. Sure, a lot of anxiety here for Larry Marnes. This move has been anticipated for probably a decade. And here we go, they're twisting, and awfully brave to be standing I would use a 10-foot pole to touch that caboose. They have to turn it around.
Yeah, that's it. Put it on running.
We'll stick around till they place it on the trucks, and then we'll stick around till they put it on the trucks, and then we'll come back after it's been put together. We're about 8 minutes after our scheduled switching our daily DVD time here. About 8 minutes ago we were supposed to start our Thursday program, and we are here instead for this historic occasion. Inching it downward. Again, a very precise operation. Looks like the portion back here has been dropped, and now they are dropping the front. Straps are becoming loose. The caboose has arrived. All it remains is to bolt up wherever it needs bolting. I would assume there's some kind of bolting that goes into securing it. So I think we'd have to call this operation a success. It is my intent to return and get a final picture of it after everything has been cleared out of here. So for the time being, I've gonna head out. This is an hour plus of time that I hadn't expected to be spending here in Marnes. We've wandered back here in the middle of the afternoon. The work is done. And this is the NJ car sitting in a Rutland yard. This is something you nobody's probably ever seen before. NJ went north-south and Rutland went east-west, and never the twain did meet. As NJ went to through Canada, and Rutland of course went to Rouse's Point, but you may have seen some Rutland cars parked in Rouse's Point, but doubtful that an NJ car ever made it here to Marnes. Larry Marnes has assured me that he will be spending the summer refurbishing this caboose. So although he's happy to have it here in front of his Rutland station, he's not going to just let it sit there. He's going to work on it. He's got to do some roof repair and replace some boards on the side, and going to repaint it. And as you can see, everything Larry Marnes does is done first class. You look at the way this roof has been repaired up here. Everything is first class and authentic. And the same thing will happen here with this car now, this caboose, now that he's moved it here to this location. On Maple Street, at the end of the Depot Street spur, and I want to congratulate Larry Marnes, Chris Trombley, and everybody else who was involved in making this happen. It's certainly an asset to the North Country to have this sitting here, aesthetically at least. So thanks for watching, and for those of you supporting viewer-supported hometown cable TV, worthy of your support.